Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into one of the most talked about and controversial films of 2020, 365 Days or 365 DNI. This movie took the world by storm with its steamy romance, but it also sparked plenty of debates about consent, power dynamics, and the portrayal of relationships in modern cinema. So, in this video, we're going to break down the movie in detail, explore its characters, themes, and the controversy surrounding it. Whether you loved it or hated it, this analysis is for you. Let's get into it. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with the film, 365 Days is a Polish erotic thriller directed by Barbara Białowież and Tomasz Mondes. It's based on the first book in a trilogy by Blanka Lipinska. The movie stars Michelle Morone as Massimo Torricelli, a Sicilian mafia boss, and Anna Maria Ciclucca as Laura Beale, a businesswoman who gets caught up in Massimo's dangerous world. After a traumatic event, Massimo kidnaps Laura and gives her 365 days to fall in love with him. Sounds intense, right? Well, that's because it is. But the movie has sparked a lot of controversy due to its portrayal of kidnapping, Stockholm Syndrome, and how it treats themes of consent. While it's framed as a romance, some viewers are left questioning whether it glorifies toxic behavior. So, in this video, I'll walk you through the plot, the characters, and the deeper themes at play here. Buckle up. Let's start with the main characters. We'll begin with Massimo Torricelli, played by Michelle Morone. Massimo is the quintessential bad boy. He's rich, powerful, and ruthless. As the head of a Sicilian mafia family, he's constantly dealing with danger and betrayal. He's a man who's used to getting what he wants, and that includes Laura. At the beginning of the movie, Massimo witnesses the murder of his father during a mob war. This traumatic event sets the stage for his obsession with Laura. He sees her once while he's in a helicopter, and from that moment, he becomes fixated on her. This obsession leads him to kidnap her, offering her an ultimatum: fall in love with me in a year or be freed. This power dynamic immediately sets the stage for a deeply problematic, yet undeniably alluring, relationship. Now, let's talk about Laura Beale, played by Anna Maria Ciclucca. Laura is a beautiful, independent businesswoman, who's initially in a relationship with another man, Martin. She's planning her future, unaware that her world is about to be turned upside down. She's smart, confident, and unafraid of standing up for herself, at least at first. However, when Massimo kidnaps her and forces her into this high-stakes game of fall in love with me, we see a drastic shift in Laura's character. While she starts off fighting back, her resistance fades over time. This brings us to one of the major issues with the film: the question of whether Laura's feelings for Massimo are genuine or a result of manipulation. Now, let's dive into the plot. The movie starts with Laura being kidnapped by Massimo after a chance encounter in Sicily. He locks her away in a luxurious, secluded mansion, and for the next 365 days, she's supposed to fall in love with him. But here's the thing: Massimo's approach is anything but traditional. He showers Laura with gifts, lavish vacations, and extreme attention, but all of this comes with a very dark undertone. One of the most controversial aspects of the movie is how Massimo treats Laura. His affection isn't just about wooing her with flowers and romantic gestures, it's about control. He forces her into a relationship by using his power, wealth, and dominance to wear her down. This creates a twisted dynamic where Laura starts to feel like she has no escape, and her sense of autonomy is stripped away. But, as the movie progresses, Laura begins to soften toward Massimo, largely because of his charm and the intense passion he shows her. However, her initial resistance is a key part of the first act. She's not completely convinced, and that's where the complexity of the plot begins. Another interesting element is Laura's relationship with her friend Olga, played by Magdalena Lamparska. Olga acts as a grounding force for Laura, providing support and some level of comic relief. However, Olga's role also highlights how isolated Laura becomes in Massimo's world. Despite the wealth and luxury, Laura is slowly losing her independence. This becomes one of the key tensions of the story. How far will she go before she feels she's lost herself? Now, let's talk about the film's major turning point. Around the halfway mark, Laura's feelings for Massimo begin to evolve. This is a critical moment because it's where the narrative shifts from one of pure manipulation to one where there are moments of mutual affection. But we must address the elephant in the room: this isn't a healthy relationship. Massimo is a man who holds Laura captive, and the film tries to balance this darker, coercive element with intense, passionate love scenes. One of the key scenes in this section is when Massimo gives Laura the freedom to make a choice whether she wants to stay with him or leave. However, even this choice is complicated by his controlling nature. While he presents it as freedom, it's clear that Laura feels trapped by the life he's given her. At the same time, Massimo reveals more about his own vulnerabilities, including his fears of losing Laura and his desire for love in a world of violence. These personal moments humanize him, but they don't necessarily make his actions right. By this point in the film, we also see Laura's internal conflict intensify. She's in love with Massimo, but is it because she truly cares for him, or is it because he's used his power and control to create a dependency? This ambiguity is part of what makes 365 Days so fascinating and problematic at the same time. As we approach the climax, the film ramps up its emotional stakes. Massimo's jealousy becomes more pronounced when Laura begins to develop feelings for another man, Nacho, played by Simone Susana. This triangle creates even more tension, as Laura is torn between her feelings for Massimo and the new attraction she feels toward Nacho, who represents a more normal kind of love, a love without the manipulation. In the final act, the movie dives deeper into this conflict. Massimo, who has already shown possessiveness, is now forced to confront his own fears of losing Laura to someone else. His obsession with her, which started out as a means of control, turns into a desperate attempt to keep her by his side. The film ends on a cliffhanger, with Laura still uncertain about her future, leaving the door open for a sequel. So, what do we take away from 365 Days? On one hand, the film is undeniably seductive and full of passion, but on the other hand, it's deeply problematic. It romanticizes a toxic, coercive relationship where one person's autonomy is sacrificed for the sake of another's obsession. The power dynamics in this film are hard to ignore, and that's what sparks the real conversation about it. It's important to recognize the distinction between fiction and real-life relationships. While 365 Days might be a steamy guilty pleasure for some, it also raises crucial questions about consent, power, and healthy love. What do you think? Did you find the romance exciting, or was it too dark for you? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into movies like this one.